Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the break-even, busters or something. I will find a word to sort of help the series out or something, or low break-even guys, or something like that. Some creativity will have to happen there to get a name out for this series, but it's basically just the lowest break-even guys and talking through if they're viable options for trade-ins. Yes, I did talk about some of the guys like Swepson and stuff like that in the trade targets videos. They're slightly different, it's a slightly more catered video towards the rookies, as they're generally the guys that have the lower break-evens. And don't get talked about as much in the trade targets, as you don't like rookies or sort of lower cash guys generally, as we've seen that across the codes like AFL Fantasy, etc., and now SuperCoach. They sort of have the general gist of you only want rookies for cash-ins, but there's a general actual in SuperCoach that some of these guys that are lower priced are not really rookies, are coming off an injured season and are really actually just underpriced primos, well underpriced primos. But anyway, before we get into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, Swepson we talked about massively in the, not really massively, but somewhat in the trade target video, but minus 70 break even. I just don't understand why you would bring him in. I understand that you get cash down out of him, but I just feel like in the long run, people aren't looking at, if I actually was to bring it up for you guys, I'll just switch it back to this so I can not show you everything else. But if I bring this up now and switch back over here, you'll see that, here we go here, and you'll see here with the, if I go over to here, and you'll see here, if I was to say I was to select Mitchell Swepson, right? So I'd have 2 and then I'd have 4. Now that would put me in this position here, I'm pretty sure. And then I'd still have 2 and 1, so I could technically do it. But 4 guys, including Short and Menenti, as well as Short as well, the big dog Short, I'd only have 1 bowler, and I feel like that's a little bit too light on the actual scoring end of things. So that's why I think, oopsie, that was that, and then this was 1, and that was 5. So that's why I wouldn't actually be going for, if I just quickly switch those around for you, so that's easy to access. That's why I'm not going for Swepson, because I feel like you're just going to get stuck with him with the cash there not being realized, the cash gen. And that's something we talked about early in the preseason, is that you really want to be able to realize any cash gen that has been generated. And that's something that I've done with actually Munro, and I know that Munro sort of follows the same thing. But getting out of Munro quickly like that after his score was absolutely huge, as that was 26k that I realized, and that 26k is gonna go on to some other, well, it's basically all the money that I have left in the kitty basically from that. But like realizing cash gen is one of the hardest things to do in these sports games, as you've got to factor in fixturing, you've got to factor in injuries as well, or potentially players missing through suspension in other sports. We don't see it in cricket, obviously, but you've also got to factor in the guys leaving, such as a lot of the overseas guys with the in BBL. So there's a lot of things, and you sort of forget about actually trading out your rookies. You're all focused about points, and rightly so, because points are the main mechanism, but you forget about actually trading out these guys. And Swepson is the guy that's going to probably be forgotten about for a lot of people in getting rid of him, because you've got to get rid of, you basically go from a guy that's on a double to them guys needing to immediately be traded out, and 3 of them most likely. So the only time that you're going to be able to get rid of Swepson, I feel like at the moment, if you were to trade him in, is probably if you trade boosted, and I'm trying to hold my trade boost till the end, because something freak could happen. Some guy could get injured, some guy could be a late out or something like that, some guy could leave, you could have a bad performance, some guy get like a 0 that really just negate cash gen flows. Like say Philippi starts going on a horrific run and you need to trade him out for something. So yeah, that's why I'm trying to hold my trade boosts at the moment. So that's why I'm not going to go Swepson. Tanvi Sanger is definitely a guy that if you have the ability to, if you've set up perfectly and had already 3 strikers guys in, including Short, the Darcy Short, Menenti and probably Overton, you probably have the wiggle room to be able to get Tanvi Sanger in itself, and I think that would be a good trade in as minus 35 break even. If we bring up the stats on the side screen here, minus 35 in itself with a 28 projected score gets him up 16k toward, basically tips him over that 120k. And he could easily go huge. He could easily go 28 is almost just what he could get through economy rate and dot balls. Like say he gets an economy rate of 6, and say he has 8 dot balls and that's 8 points, and then the economy rate of 6 gets him 15 points, so that's 23 in itself, I believe. And say he gets a catch, he's already hitting that break even just off that, and he didn't even take a wicket, let alone him playing the strikers. He could easily take 3 or 4 wickets there so easily, and figure out and end up with a 90 or something like that, which would be absolutely huge. But that would get him, a 90 would get him 70 above that projected score, and that would be 43, 63. So a 90 would probably see him rise. If he got another 90 score, probably see him rise 35k and be so much harder to get come his double in round 4, as he'll have like a minus 45 or minus 50 break even going into the next week. And that week, even if he gets a 20, he'll go up another 20k. So he could, if he just gets one more big score, he could go all the way from 83k up to 170k in the space of basically 3 rounds. So that's why I think if you have the capability to get him, he's going to be so valuable on the double. Daniel Hughes, understand that if you want to just fix around your bench pieces, but he doesn't play doesn't have like a double or anything, so not necessarily a chance to double crack it, and he is so capable of just dropping a 0, and dropping a 0 would see him only go up like 8k, and his cash gem would stop. So that's why I wouldn't go for batter only players that are so cheap, etc. You'd be going for the bowlers if you wanted a rookie type option. Munro, we talked about. Hamish McKenzie, I do like this, except for the fact that Agar was managed. He's raring to go. Agar's just going to replace him. It's as simple as that. Yes, he played really well. McKenzie got man of the match, but at the end of the day, it's a short tournament. You've got to play and he's being replaced by an Australian T20 player. Effectively, he's being replaced by. So you just got to do that. It is not logical to give McKenzie another game, realistically speaking. Corey Anderson, minus 26 break even. I think there's just better options out there, to be honest with you. And at that price, I think you got to be comfortable playing him. And I'm not terribly comfortable playing him, seeing his batting performance, and that bowling performance I think was a one-off. And I don't even think he gets that many overs, to be honest. Edwards, minus 20 break even, and I think there's potentially better options there. You've got Abbott coming back in most likely as well, who should see the likes of Edwards potentially out of the side, or he might go up the order, which could make his role even better, but I just don't see it. And the Sixers schedule is just so bad for fantasy. Bartlett, minus 19, but he's a heat player, wouldn't be getting him. Sutherland is the big guy. We talked about him. Cartwright, minus 16, anybody's on a buy, so I wouldn't be grabbing him. Kuhneman, another Brisbane Heat guy with a negative break-even, wouldn't be grabbing him. Cooper Connolly, we talked about in the trade targets video, minus 13 break-in. I love this guy and the way he plays. I think he is super suited to the SuperCoach scoring method, and the way in which he attacks with the bat and can easily just get to a 20. I mean, he played the SuperCoach method perfectly by getting 20 off 9. He got to that strike rate bonus, got the full strike rate bonus, 45 with the bat, and then picked up, 1 for 12 and a catch as well. So, I mean, if he got that third over, he would have been huge. He would have been in the hundreds, and he would have probably, got that third over, even if he did nothing with the ball and just got another 6 off with like another 2 dot balls, he probably would have ended up somewhere around that 86, 87k somewhere probably, because he would have got like plus another like 15 or 16 points, and that would have got him another probably 5k. And then he would have had a -20 or so, -22 break even, somewhere around there. Fraser McGurk looks on fire in the Victorian cricket. I mean, he did get like a 69 and then get a duck, but that is the run the risk with the batters, and he will be sort of similar to what I'm running with Darcy Short, as I talked about in the trade targets video, in which I will be sort of trying to loophole him in, as he has a potential to just absolutely just drop 2 zeros. But hopefully he can get that big score, that like 50 plus score in the first game, as that sort of means that he's worthwhile over those single game players. And he's got a -9 break even, so I would be picking him up in the if you are available now to pick him up, him or Tanvi Singh are the two guys him, Tanvi and Connolly are probably the 3 guys that I'd be picking up if you had the room to be able to do that with your trades for those strikers, guys, if you had a spare one. Philippi, just don't think he's valuable to pick up necessarily now. I think you needed to start with him. Walter, don't think he's valuable now with the 2 break even. Zamir Khan, don't think he's valuable given his fixture or selection, I guess, as he leaves halfway through the Thunder double, so I wouldn't be picking him up. If we look here now, not many people have brought him in. Henriquez, don't value him. Dixon, you have all these guys on 12, which sort of shows that we have a lot of guys available to us to downgrade, which will be absolutely huge come the round sort of 8, I believe, where there is a potential that we do have a round in round 8 or round 9 where we trade out of a lot of guys on the bench, like 2 or 3 guys, and we grab in, is there a keeper somewhere here, as that will be huge for us. Harry Dixon isn't a keeper. That sucks. If we did have a keeper, that would be huge, as a keeper at 42k would help dramatically to get cash off the bench. But I mean, there is a potential that I do just in round 7 or 8 just stuff one of the guys and just grab like 100k to be able to put it on field for the Thunder guys, as flushing out and getting sort of a dead player, a guy that's not going to play in for these guys will be huge. But anyway, that's sort of off topic, and there's not really any sort of low break even guys anymore. As you can see, sort of we're getting into that 20-30 where they might not even hit it. So that pretty much sums up the video, which is the low break even guys, something like that. I'll name it something or other on that terms. But that is the video, and I'll see you guys in probably another, I don't know what I'll do tomorrow, but there'll be definitely a video out tomorrow on the channel as well on some form of fantasy. But anyway, that is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.